are approaching Q2 of 2025, which I can't believe it. I can't believe 3 months have gone by already. When this video gets uploaded, it will already be April, and yeah, this year has just flown by. At the beginning of this year, I created this video that was all about my goals for 2025. Some of them were carryover goals from last year, and some of them were brand new goals that I made this year. And I just wanted to check in and share how some of those goals are going, just kind of review where I'm at, what I might carry over into Q2, and maybe some goals that just aren't aligned with where I'm headed. So yeah, let's get right into the video. At the beginning of the year, I had this kind of overarching theme that I wanted to maintain this year, and that is simplicity. So my main focus this year is simplifying my routines, simplifying the way that I interact socially, simplifying, just kind of simplifying everything, not overcomplicating things too much. At the beginning of the year, I had made this really simple mood board. The idea was to choose one image per goal. In the past, I'd made mood boards where I would just kind of pile all these images onto the board and cover the board completely. It was overwhelming to look at. And so this year, I approached my mood board in a bit of a different way and choose one image per goal, so that when I saw that image, it signaled to my brain that that was representing this goal that I wanted to focus on. And I honestly think that it has been really great. So it's not overwhelming to look at. I know exactly what goals I want to focus on, and the images that I chose to represent each goal do sort of just, I don't know, I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to work on that, stay focused, stay on track. Some of these goals were not that serious. Some were just kind of like silly little things that I wanted to test out in my life or add into my routine and see how it went. Some are just things that I should be doing regardless of it being a goal, and some are a little bit larger goals that I think will take a little bit more time to accomplish. And I'll say I think I have like 3 to 5 goals that I kind of focus on per quarter. In an attempt to go less digital overall and rely less on my phone, I decided to track my goals in this little planner. It's just this miniature binder, and I think this is just a really fun way to track my goals. I have been using Notion for quite a while, and I do love Notion. But this year, something I really wanted to do was get out of my phone, get away from digital screens. I really wanted to bring back the computer room. For context, I grew up in the 90s, and we had actual computer rooms, or there was like a dedicated space for your computer, whether it be in like a computer desk with doors on it in the living room, or a dedicated space where the computer lived. And that is the mindset I want to have when it comes to being digital. And when I'm not working or needing to be on the computer, I'm not. I've been finding that I will leave my phone at home when I go to the park. I'll read a book in bed. I actually have been making a point to leave my phone like across the room. Often I would reach for my phone to even just look at the time, and then I'd get on Pinterest or something and like scroll in bed on Pinterest. Just really small changes to kind of distance myself from having a digital device just like attached to my hand 24/7. You don't need access to the internet that often. Like, giving myself a lot of breathing room for things has been really nice this year. I had these in my gift guide last year, and I actually got one for myself, and I've put a quote right here that I printed off that is also on my mood board. It just says, "Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most." So I really love that quote because it really makes me think about the things that I want to accomplish and how consistency will get me there. I'm trying to stay consistent with things, and that takes discipline. So I've just divided this up into 4 quarters, and you can see the tabs here. So I have Q1, and then it goes Q2, Q3, and Q4. And for Q1, I actually printed off these images from my mood board. This just says, "Feel the fear and do it anyways." I also love that just as a little reminder. Often I feel very self-conscious about things, or I don't know, I get in my head and overthink stuff. So feel the fear, do it anyway. Just maintaining that mindset so that I don't get in my own way. Okay, so these images are from my mood board. This says live healthy. I have this little salad, a thing of water, and vitamins because I just wanted to have a healthier lifestyle. We were eating just really highly processed foods and not really watching what I was eating, so I put salad on my mood board to remind me that I would like to eat more greens and just eat a little bit healthier. I've actually incorporated salads into almost every dinner meal that we've been cooking, and I think my body was just craving greens. So I've been doing like mixed greens with radish and carrot and avocado, and I've been loving the Green Goddess seasoning from Trader Joe's. I'll just sprinkle that over everything, do a little oil and vinegar or one of my favorite dressings and just mix it all up, and then I do like a protein. Drinking more water, that was a big one because I go through these like phases. Don't reach for water, especially in the fall and winter when it's kind of gloomy outside and I'm cold. I'm not reaching for water. I have been drinking a lot more water the past few months, and I have to just continue to promote my favorite water bottles. They do make smaller ones, and I actually have 3 of these larger sizes, but I keep this one in my office. I fill it up with water at the end of the day after I'm done working. That way when I come into my office to work the next day, I already have a full bottle of water on my desk. I also keep one in my closet. I get ready in my closet. It's like a small walk-in style closet, and I have a little spot where I keep my makeup, my hair dryer, and that's just like where I get ready. I don't know. So something I've been doing to also implement taking supplements, which was the other image here on my little mood board. I needed to take my supplements. So I figured if I had my multivitamins and my water sitting right there while I was getting ready, that I would actually take them. I have finished 2 bottles of the Ritual for Essential for Women multivitamin, and I have more on the way. I don't know what it is, if there's something in the Ritual. This is not sponsored, by the way. I have not had as many breakouts, and I usually break out all along my jaw. I'll get breakouts like kind of in my T-zone. I don't know, I just haven't had as many breakouts now, knock on wood, because I'll say that and then I'll probably just have a huge breakout happen. But I don't know if that goes hand in hand with taking my multivitamin and just like more water intake or what, or maybe it's the greens, maybe it's a combination of everything together. I am not going to switch things up because not having as many breakouts has been quite nice. Something that was kind of along those lines that I wanted to try, I also had a picture of it on my mood board. I had mouth tape on there as something I wanted to try. It's kind of gimmicky in my opinion, but I did do a full month of mouth taping. I found that about halfway through the night I would be ripping it off and crumpling it up, and I'd find it like next to the bed in the morning because I would wake up in a panic almost to be like, not that I couldn't breathe, because I could breathe, but it was just a weird feeling and I just couldn't sleep with tape on my mouth. I also didn't notice any of the benefits that they're claiming, and I only did it for 30 days and I didn't make it through the night most nights, so maybe that's why it didn't work for me, but I will not be continuing that because it's just not enjoyable. Felt like that all goes under one bucket, so like supplements, water, salads, one bucket. One of the other goals that I've been working on is mental health, and I think a big part of that is social media. And something that I mentioned I wanted to do at the beginning of this year was get off of social media for 6 months, try 1 month and see how I'm feeling. I feel great. I don't miss it that much. So I'm not on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I don't miss TikTok. The only con I feel like of being off of TikTok is I'm not hearing or seeing the most recent trends. I'm like missing out on some sort of, I don't know, current trend, and I don't know, I don't necessarily need to know all of that, but there is that kind of like someone's gonna say a joke and I'm not gonna get it because I've been in the dark like living under a rock from social media. So that's kind of the downside, I think, of being off of TikTok specifically. Things that I'm not considering as social media: YouTube. It's my favorite space to create and consuming content on YouTube. I do that while I'm like doing my morning walk. I like to watch YouTube in the garage while I'm on the treadmill. So that's kind of another exception. Substack, reading a lot of Substacks, and I'm subscribed to several that I really enjoy checking in on. What else? Oh, Pinterest. I don't consider Pinterest to be social media because I use Pinterest a lot in my job. So we're talking about social media in the sense that I'm considering TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook kind of like the big social media players in my head that I'm kind of staying away from right now. Oh yeah, and I guess Twitter. I've not been on Twitter in years. I think I was on Twitter in like 2009, 2010. I couldn't even log into my Twitter account if I tried. And then there's all these new social media platforms that have kind of popped up. Okay, and then we have LinkedIn. I found that as I took these other social media platforms away, that I was finding myself on LinkedIn more often. I don't need to be like scrolling on LinkedIn, and they have video on there now as well, which I don't know how to feel about. I think it's odd that there's some sort of like video integration into LinkedIn. That's weird to me. However, LinkedIn is a platform where I have gotten every single job I've ever had was from a connection or a LinkedIn lead. Yeah, so I don't want to like complain about LinkedIn too much, but I found myself scrolling on there quite a bit after I deleted my other social media platforms. So I actually deleted LinkedIn off my phone too, because I was like, I don't need to be scrolling on here to get that like social media fix, I guess. So all in all, that's a really long-winded way to say that being off of social media has been challenging but good for my mental health, and I'm glad that I did it. I'm going to continue to stay off of Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn for the coming months. And like I mentioned in my January video, I think that Instagram would be the only one that I would kind of go back to if I jump back on the social media bandwagon. Maybe. I really like not posting to it though. Like, it's kind of nice. So I don't know. I'll let you know when we get there. That will be a Q3 discussion, I guess. But this goal is to make money, and I have a little wallet here with some money coming out of it, and along the same lines was to save money. As I mentioned previously, I did get a job. I accepted a job as a graphic designer. Initially, my mindset was just go find a job using the skills you have. I wasn't making any money in photography, and that is still a goal that I have. I think it's a long-term goal. It's something that I will continue to work on. Sharing more product shoots on here is something I want to continue to do. That business will definitely become that kind of like side hustle kind of thing that I'm doing. My full-time role is now graphic design again. I'm art directing, which is really cool, a really big learning experience for me. And I'm designing and illustrating again, which something that honestly I was so burnt out on. And after taking last year off, I wasn't sure if I'd ever find a job where I was happy doing that again. I feel like this job just kind of came out of nowhere and reminded me why I love design. I didn't think I would find a job that I would be happy in again, and that's just such a big mindset shift for me, because for so long I was just really not happy in where my career was going. Not only have I achieved my goal of making some money and saving some money, I'm feeling really, really happy in this job. Like, I did not expect that. I don't know what I expected. I expected to get a job and just kind of have it be like something where I'm checking off the to-do list. And this is something where I'm like, all of these creative ideas bubbling up, and I have really exciting things to work on. Along those same lines, I also didn't expect to really enjoy the structure again of the 9-to-5. Really helped to clarify the amount of time that I have to work on personal projects, on work, and all of my hobbies and stuff. my days are really taken up by this job, I only have the time before work or the time after work to focus on these other goals. And I find it really helpful for some reason to have my days kind of compartmentalized into work time, after work time, and then my weekends being this like really dedicated focused time on my hobbies, YouTube, and my business, instead of having just like infinite amount of time that I could put towards these other goals. I now have limited time that I feel like I just take advantage of more, whereas before I had all of this time during the week where I was kind of like, whatever, I can do that at any time, and then I would just put it off. There's got to be some sort of like neuroscience or something behind that reasoning of why I feel like I'm doing more with less time, whereas before I was doing less with more time, and I don't know why. Okay, and then one of my other goals that I'm actually pushing to next quarter, I want to chop my hair off. I want to get a haircut. I know I only got my hair done like one time last year where I went and got full highlights, and they're pretty much, I don't know, they're pretty much all grown out. I'll do like you can see some right there, I think. I don't know. It's not that serious. And I want to get just a really clean chop. I've been feeling this way for a while, wanting to chop my hair off, but I really like that length and this like kind of mid-length. And if you remember, I went and got a spontaneous haircut because I was feeling really overstimulated by, my hair was just like, I think almost like 5 inches longer than this. Went and did that spontaneously, but I didn't chop it that day because I knew that I would regret it if I did that spontaneously. So I have a haircut in my calendar and it's 2 months out, and I feel like it would just feel so fresh. You know, when you have long hair and then you get a significant amount cut off, that first shampoo just feels so refreshing. I don't know. I think it would be just really nice to just have like a fresh chop for summer. Something I do in between highlights and getting my hair colored is this Kristen S hair gloss. It's basically like a color. Use either the Smoky Topaz or the Winter Wheat. And at the beginning of this year, I used the Smoky Topaz, and you can definitely tell in earlier videos from this year that my hair just looks more one color and it looks a little bit darker, and like it blends into my natural color a lot better because I had that, I guess, basically like a semi-permanent color on my hair, but it has since washed out. Yeah, that's that. I think that is my Q1 recap. Some goals were small and some carried over from last year. Some goals will be continued throughout this year, and some I totally changed my mind on, so that's okay. Overall, I feel like I have some really good momentum going for the year. I feel like I've achieved some of the small goals that I set out to do, and I feel like I'm on track with some of the larger ones as well. But let me know how your goals are going in the comments below. I'd love to know if you break up your goals into quarters, or if you just have a running list, or maybe you're just able to kind of implement new habits without having a mood board or a list to keep you accountable. How do you stay on track? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!